I discovered a hidden keyhole on my father's tombstone, so I quickly took out the key my father left behind and tentatively inserted it. As I turned the key, the adjacent secret room was unlocked. Curious, I immediately went in to investigate and found that this was my father's studio. The desk was still filled with various strange collections. Just as I was puzzled by this, a camera caught my attention. Opening it, I found a video of my father before his death. Father stated that he had gone to a lonely island to find a way to eternal life in an ancient tomb. Because this journey was more dangerous than auspicious, he deceived everyone by faking his death. To confirm whether my father was safe now, I immediately rented a fishing boat to go find him. But just as the fishing boat was about to land on the island, I suddenly encountered a massive storm and had to choose to jump into the sea to escape. When I was washed up on the beach by the waves, I unexpectedly saw my father's figure, but my father seemed to be deliberately hiding from me. I refused to give up and quickly followed him up the cliff. Unexpectedly, there was also a cave in the middle of the cliff. I didn't understand why my father chose to live here in seclusion, but soon my father gave me the answer. It turned out that after researching the ancient tomb here, my father discovered that the owner of the tomb was extremely brutal when alive, and his body was still filled with a large number of vengeful spirits after death. In order to prevent the evil power from falling into the wrong hands, he had been guarding here. The next day, my father came to the tomb entrance to check if there were any signs of the ancient tomb being opened, but he was followed by Mark. In order to obtain the treasure inside, Mark threatened my father's life and forced me to go and unlock it. Facing this stone door inlaid with compasses, I suddenly remembered the loop unlock I had played with before, which was similar to the compasses on the door. So I quickly rotated the symbols on the compasses to their corresponding positions. When all the compasses were adjusted, the stone door instantly shattered. Then we entered the tomb through a zipline. Mark continued to force me to lead the way in front, but I accidentally stepped on a switch. However, after half a day, there was no response. Just as I thought it was a false alarm, spikes suddenly protruded from the ground and pierced through the person behind me. We were frightened by this scene, and the rest of the journey became more cautious. Soon, we were blocked by a ravine. Mark threw the torch into the ravine and unexpectedly found that it was filled with bones. Mark immediately ordered his men to set up a rope ladder to cross this ravine. We finally arrived at the main tomb chamber and saw an ancient building that had stood for thousands of years. But when we went in to investigate, we found only one coffin inside. Mark believed that there must be treasures inside, so he opened it directly despite our dissuasion. However, only the queen's corpse was lying inside, but her appearance remained unchanged for thousands of years. Just as we were surprised by this, unexpectedly, the next second the corpse began to oxidize and quickly turned into an ugly dried corpse. Mark immediately ordered the corpse to be packed up, but I suddenly thought of something. Before I could stop him, the man's hand that had just touched the corpse suddenly turned black and his whole body began to decay. Mark directly shot and killed him. The man's mutation verified my guess. The queen was actually an asymptomatic virus carrier, and those who had contact with her died one after another. That's why later generations mistakenly thought she was a tyrant. Mark immediately cut off the queen's fingers, planning to use them to study the new virus and then make a fortune by selling vaccines. At this moment, my father gave me a look. I immediately picked up a pickaxe and took out one of Mark's men. My father's sneak attack also hit Mark in the leg. Just as the situation reached a stalemate, the man who had just been infected suddenly came back to life. Although my father promptly took him out, he was also unfortunately infected. He urged me to leave here immediately, while he stayed behind to destroy this place with bombs.